It is June 5th, and that dude was just out strutting on the roadway with a hen. So we're back down at the farm today. We're gonna be building some electric fences. The beans actually look really, really good for the little moisture that we've had. They've come up very well, put on their secondary leaves and stuff like that. But what I can tell is there's been quite a bit of deer damage in here. So definitely time to get these fences up, try to protect them a little bit. There's about 2.3 acres, I think, in this field, 2.3, 2.5, something like that. So this is actually the field that I was planting in the last farm series video that we did. But so yeah, like you can just get into some of these rows, and the rows look really, really good for the most part, other than where the deer have been sitting there just mowing on those primary leaves, those first leaves out of the ground. And then, like I said, a lot of these beans are put on secondaries, so they look good. But I'll flip you around here and kind of show you what I'm talking about. All right, so I've got you flipped around here, but if you look, so like some of these rows through here and stuff look really, really good. Get you back in focus there. But then when you come down into and look a little bit smaller, or into those areas that look a little thinner, you can see the deer damage. You can see right here where they've just basically nipped the plant off right where it was putting off its leaves. But you can look through all through here as well, just nip, 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 nip. And especially it's more prevalent when you get out towards the outside edges. You can see why it's gonna be so important to protect. I mean, look how good these ones look here. And these are our two outside rows, so I expect these to be damaged. But if you look, damaged, 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 heavily. So this is why we're gonna get in here and protect them today. They should survive. Beans are pretty resilient. We run these as, let's call them semi-permanent. They can be removed if they need to. Like, I try to leave these T-posts in if we can, year in, year out. I'll just spray underneath of them and then typically start the plot just on the back side of them, and then be able to leave the T-post in. And so year after year, we're not having to rebuild them from scratch. But so I'll run an inside post here this is gonna be the bottom wire and the top wire. And then I'm gonna run a poly tape on the outside, which is gonna be the Energized string. And so I'm gonna set them up kind of in a triangle here. Set this one about 3 feet on the inside, this one here. And then I'm gonna take this other post and drive it in right here, so that we create a corner here that we can then take down the edge. And then I'll do the same thing on every single corner, kind of create this triangle. And for strength wise, being able to pull that poly tape tight, those other wires tight. And then about halfway down, I'll just run a set of 2 posts about 3 feet apart like this. And so that we just give some extra strength in there as well. Like I said, it's a pretty long run down and through there. So just give some extra strength there on that side of things. And make sure that, you know, we don't lose the fence at any point in time during the year, whether a deer run into it or whatever. There's some other little tricks I'll show you as well, that if a deer does run into it, snap it for whatever reason, how you can keep tension on the rest of it. Obviously, your lines won't be energized anymore, but you can keep tension on there and at least keep the visual that they are energized. And then as you're checking in on it throughout the year, you can come back through, basically just splice it, and your fence is good again. So show you how to do that with some tips and tricks that I've learned along the way of helping out with keeping that tight. So we'll get these driven in. So then with the poly tape, what we're gonna do, see it's not under tension. I already tied my knot, okay, but this is what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna pull this and get it in here and basically pull it to where it's tight all the way across through my supports and everything where I want it to be. All right, and then I'm gonna take it back out of there. I'm gonna pull it back, let the slack come out of it because it's easier to tie the knot when the slack's in it. And then once you got the knot tied, I'm gonna pull it back through, close it. That knot will prevent it from being able to back through there. And then it's tied all the way down through. So the other thing you can do is you can throw a couple twists into these, which I will, and it'll help buck that wind so it's not flapping in the wind and stretching and creating problems. All right, so with these poly wire insulators, you can see that I don't have any tension on it right now. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna draw your tension. Hook it through. Basically create a figure eight, like a heel lock type. That's all it takes. You don't have to tie any knots or anything like that. And it'll keep it tight all the way through. And my gates are pretty simple. They're just, so that wire runs all the way through there to help keep it energized. And all I'm doing is I created a loop off the front side of where the tape begins and completing your circuit all the way through. So here's how we energize our fences. They're with the Parmax Solar Pack 12. They're an all internal battery, and then obviously they have a solar panel to keep that battery charged. You can hear that it's going right now. But basically what I do is I go by the poly tape energizer and just use that against their flat piece, against the flat tape, comes up through and goes into the power source here. And then we have a grounding rod that stretches over, and it's like a 30-inch grounding rod, I think. So you can hear that it's completed the circuit if you watch right here. So it's at its full, and it's completing the full circuit all the way around. And so typically I only energize this outer, but if I wanted to, I could also do the two inners that I'm gonna have. So I'll have a poly wire here and a poly wire here, basically to create that 3D fence look, because deer have terrible depth perception. So it creates that 3D look that they cannot actually, it's way bigger than what it actually is, and they cannot jump over top of it. So I'll show you guys what it looks like here when it's finished. But the poly tape is run all the way around now. So, and I'll come back and get this stuff cleaned up, but so you can kind of see the effect this 3D fence has. So there's strand, the bottom strand, the electrified strand, and the top one. But you can see there's actually some distance between them. This is what the deer see. So kind of show you guys the cycle here of how you can tell that it's working. So you can see green is normal, yellow is marginal, red check fence. So it's off right now, okay? So when you turn it on, it's gonna run all the way over to green, and then it's gonna let off, and then it's gonna bounce back up. If you have a ground somewhere where your wire or something like that is hitting your fence, it'll stay down here in the red and tell you that it's grounding out somewhere. So then if you really want to, you can walk that fence, or you should figure out where it's snapping at. You can actually, when you're walking by it, you'll be able to hear it snapping wherever it is grounding itself out, or you should be able to hear it. So it took me about 3.5 hours to get it all completed. Get all the posts pounded in, take a couple breaks and stuff. It's 90 degrees outside today, so. But when it comes deer season, basically what I'll do is I'll take these support poles, I'll take those out, and then wrap up all of the wire on hose reels. So, and then once we open it up, but should be a dynamite spot. Redneck right there. 2.3, 2.5, I don't remember exactly what it is. Acres of beans. And this is supposed to be clover, but the clover looks like it has not done well. So this is probably gonna end up being radishes. I'll just come in here and till it up in August or end of July, early August, and put in my radishes. Thanks for watching another episode of 10-7 Outdoors. If you guys would, hit like on that video, subscribe to our channel. It's free and helps support us, and drop a comment below and let us know what you thought.